Okay, 1, 2, 3. I think they're working. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute, let's close this box. Ah, that's better. Hello, I'm Bill. And there's a little story I've written recently. It's a story. Oh, this is a science fiction story. It's called The Light by William Joseph Bailey. Are we sitting comfortably? The Light. The alien did not arrive on planet Earth in a spacecraft, but in a flash of blue light, or to be more precise, as a sphere of pulsating blue light. It communicated with us telepathically, and by us I mean everybody in the human race. At first all we could hear was the gentle rhythm of what sounded like a heartbeat coming from the pulsating blue light, floating above the Houses of Parliament in the dead of night. "Do not be afraid," whispered a soft, childlike voice inside our heads. "We mean you no harm. We are your friends." The voice was calm and reassuring. "We apologise for the intrusion into your minds, but at this time it is the only manner we have of communicating with you. Unlike your planet Earth, we come from a world without a solid mass. Our planet, Illuminati, is a world of pure energy. We know from watching you that you are a people who are in great pain, some emotionally and many with physical illnesses. We offer you our assistance and our help. Unlike the human race, we have no need of medicines. However, we do have the power of healing, but only from within your own bodies. We have studied your world for many of your centuries, yet up until now you had not reached the stage of evolution where we could communicate with your intelligence and your minds. We know that many of your diseases are terminal, and the only inevitable outcome is death. Illnesses such as cancer, Parkinson's disease, acquired immune deficiency, which you refer to as AIDS, to name but a few. Unfortunately, as we exist as pure energy, we can only stay in your world for brief periods, after which we must return to our own planet to sustain our existence. We have a proposal which would enable us and yourselves to survive here on Earth indefinitely. We require terminally ill volunteers to join with us symbiotically, to become, in essence, one single being, healthy in body and clear in mind. You would of course retain your own humanity and your own consciousness, joined with us as a single-minded intelligence. As proof of our sincerity, only one of us will join with you to begin with, in order that your scientists may study us and begin to understand our nature and our species. The voice paused for a few moments. A volunteer has been selected. The pulsating blue globe disappeared. Mark Johnson is a 15-year-old boy suffering from leukemia. He is bald due to radiation treatment and dying in a hospital bed. His mother and father sit by his bedside, and above the sick teenager floats a pulsating sphere of soft blue light. "Are you sure about this?" asked his mother. There is a cameraman standing at the foot of the bed, recording the event, and two doctors dressed in white lab coats and a nurse stand behind the boy's mother. Mark opens his tired eyes and smiles at his mum, laughing in a hoarse whisper. "Mum, this time tomorrow I will be dead anyway. I really don't have that much left to lose." His father held his son's right hand. "Good luck, boy. We love you." The teenager gazed up at the light. "I'm ready," he whispered. Suddenly the blue globe dissolved into a soft, glowing blue mist surrounding the sick teenager. "Do not be afraid," whispered the voice inside Mark's head. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, inhaling the blue smoke deep into his lungs. The boy opened his eyes. They were now completely blue, like burning crystal sapphires. "We are one," he smiled. Dr. Abrahams gazed down at his patient. "How do you feel?" he asked. Mark breathed a deep sigh. "Fantastic. Absolutely ecstatic, to be honest." "Are you in any pain or discomfort?" asked the doctor. "None whatsoever." He turned to face his mother and took hold of her right hand. "Don't worry, Mum. I am still me," he reassured her. Dr. Abrams gazed at the readings on Mark's life support machine. "This is totally unbelievable. According to these readings, you are in perfect health. Should I say exceedingly perfect health, apart from a vastly accelerated heartbeat, which could prove dangerous if not treated." Mark stared into the doctor's eyes. "His heartbeat is the result of our joining. The energy inside this body, the pulsating blue light that I am, is the cause, and will do this body no harm. In due course you will understand that this symbiosis has many physical and mental advantages to both his body and this mind." The doctor scratched his head. "I'm sorry, but am I talking to the blue light or to Mark Johnson?" The boy smiled. "The answer is both. We are one." "Well," sighed Dr. Abraham, "I want to run some more tests, just to be on the safe side." He turned to the other doctor in the room. "This is Dr. Fielding, head of psychiatry in the hospital." Dr. Fielding shook Mark's hand. "Over the next few weeks I would like to perform some psychiatric tests with you, to analyse basically your intelligence and state of mind. Is that okay with you?" he asked. "My intelligence, Doctor, is far beyond yours. I'm still the blue sphere of light that you knew before I'm still the blue sphere of blue light that you knew before. My consciousness is still the same." "By consciousness, do you mean the alien mind or the human mind?" asked Dr. Fielding. "Both," replied the boy. "We are both combined as one." "So," asked Dr. Fielding, "are you still Mark Johnson?" "I am," sighed the patient. "And the alien?" "Of course." The boy's sapphire eyes gazed deep into space. Dr. Fielding scratched his chin. "So should we call you Mark Fielding, or should we call you the alien?" The teenager took hold of his mother's and father's hands. "Why don't you call me Mark 1? Dr. Abrams turned on his pocket torch and shone a beam of soft white light into the teenager's sapphire blue eyes. "Are your eyes sore?" he asked. Mark laughed. "I can see absolutely perfectly clearly, Doctor, which is quite unbelievable, really, considering I have been short-sighted all my life. Everything seems more vivid. Colours, clarity, all intensified. It is too beautiful to explain in words that you could possibly understand. I suppose you could say that for the first time in my life I can see the light." He chuckled. The doctor stroked Mark's head. "Unbelievable," he sighed, stroking the stubble on the boy's scalp. "Your hair is already beginning to grow back." He paused. "There's just one thing." "What is it?" asked the teenager, sitting up in bed. Dr. Fielding handed a mirror to the boy. Your hair is blue." Suddenly the door of the hospital room opened, and a British Army officer and 3 soldiers carrying machine guns burst into the room. "Where is the alien?" asked General Peterson, gazing around the room. Mark raised his arms to the sky. "I was wondering when the military would show up," chuckled the teenager, climbing out of bed. The General looked at the boy. "You don't look much like a glowing ball of blue light to me, son." "Look at my eyes," smiled Mark. "We are one." "What do you mean?" asked General Peterson, gazing into the boy's sapphire blue eyes. "What's wrong with your eyes?" "I am within this body. I am the alien you are looking for." The General looked confused. "This hospital is now under quarantine and the jurisdiction of Her Majesty's government." He smiled at the teenager. "If you are the alien, then I ordered you to leave that body immediately," he commanded. "If I do that, this body will die," insisted the alien. "In that case, you must come with me," ordered General Peterson. The 3 soldiers aimed their machine guns towards the boy. Mark shook his head. "I don't think so, General." There was a crackle of electricity, and blue neon electric sparks fizzed and buzzed around the teenager. "I suggest you stand back," whispered Dr. Fielding into the General's left ear, "unless you want an electric shock." "Turn off the light show," shouted General Peterson, "or I will command my men to open fire," he warned. Mark I turned to face the three soldiers. 3 beams of neon blue light flashed across the room, electrifying the soldiers' machine guns. The soldiers dropped their weapons onto the tiled floor. The boys' parents were now standing with their backs to the wall of the hospital room. "Mum, I need my clothes." The teenager frowned. "I have to go." "Go where?" asked his father, looking worried. "Somewhere safe," suggested Mark. "It is obvious that your world was not ready for our arrival. We were wrong to believe that you would accept us into your society." "Will you go back to your planet, Illuminati?" asked his mother. "I cannot go back there without leaving this body," explained the alien. "Can't Mark go with you?" asked Mrs. Johnson. The boy shook his head. "This body could not survive on my world." "Till death us do part," sighed Mr. Johnson. "So, where will you go?" "Into hiding somewhere, at least until your people are ready to accept us." "How long will that be?" asked his mother. "Who knows?" frowned Mark. His father hugged the boy. "Well, you'd better buy a hat and sunglasses to hide those flashing blue eyes of yours, and maybe dye your hair. Or are you going to stand out? Or you are going to stand out like a sore blue thumb in a crowd of pink and brown." Mark got dressed in his street clothes and opened the door of his hospital room. He looked at General Peterson. "Do not follow me unless you want to be hit by 10,000 volts. And tell the world that I will be in touch soon." He suggested, closing the door behind him. He opened the door again and walked back into the room. Mark put his arms around his parents and hugged them. "I love you both," he whispered. Mark put his hands into his pockets. "Mum, have you got my mobile phone? I need to make a call." Mrs. Johnson opened the top drawer of the bedside cabinet and handed the phone to her son. "Who to?" asked his mother. "Joe, you know, from school. Just to let him know that I'm still alive," he suggested. "Of course," smiled his mother. "After all, he's your best friend." "Actually," Mark paused, "he's a little bit more than that." "What do you mean, son?" asked his father. "On Illuminati we have no secrets. We believe in total honesty." "What are you trying to say?" asked Mrs. Johnson. "Mum, Dad," Mark paused, "I'm gay. Joe is my boyfriend." "Is this a result of the alien possessing your body?" asked Mrs. Johnson. "Of course not," laughed Mark. "I've always been this way. An Illuminati, we exist as pure light. There is no male or female, only love." The sound of a police siren blared through the window. Mark put his phone into his pocket. "I really have to go now," he sighed. "I'll be in touch." End of chapter 1. Chapter 2. It is 1 o'clock after the disappearance of Mark I. The streets of every major city in the world are full of protesters, many in wheelchairs or wearing oxygen masks, calling to the governments for the blue sphere to return. Many of the protesters died during the marches: cancer victims, AIDS victims, and children with leukemia falling to their knees in churches and on the streets. Mark Johnson was now number 1 on the police most wanted list, and posters of the teenager were glued to the brick walls of many streets. Within weeks a new religious cult had begun, and the Chapel of the Blue Light became a familiar sight in many of the world's major cities. There were many television programs and charity concerts calling for the blue sphere to return. Their slogan was "Fight for the light or die." It was 1 month later when the first broadcast by Mark I appeared on the internet, on YouTube. The teenager's boy's rosy pink face stared out of the computer through neon blue eyes of fluorescent sapphire blue. He wore a long black cashmere overcoat, and his muscular slim torso glistened under the white naked light of the room, his long blue hair hanging loosely over his broad shoulders. "Hello," smiled Mark I. "Just over a month ago I was at death's door, dying from leukemia." The boy took a packet of cigarettes out of his coat pocket and put a long white tube into his mouth. He lit the tapered ends and inhaled deeply, breathing out a plume of luminous blue smoke. You continued talking. Everybody remembers first contact, right? Asked Mark, when the blue sphere appeared above the House of Parliament, offering life to the dying. The blue sphere of light that gave all of us hope for life. I'm here to tell you that I am the blue light, and I am Mark Johnson. The alien was telling you the truth. We are as one, and we mean you no harm. And I am telling you that we have not abandoned you. Soon, if your governments will permit it, we shall return, and the blue light will, if it is welcomed, become a part of you, if you wish it. The choice must be your own. The screen went blank. End of chapter 2. That's about it for now.